there, my name is Tasha Booth. I'm the CEO and founder of the Launch Guild. We do full service launch support for established online coaches and course creators. And I have 2 certifications for launch specialists, one for launch managers and one for launch tech specialists. And today we're talking about 3 things that are true in the world of launching in 2023. Welcome back, my friends. Today is all about the world of launching and 3 things that are definitely true in 2023 for the world of launching. So let's get right into it, starting with number 1. Number 1 is that launch runways just take longer. So we actually used to have an 8-week program or an 8-week runway for most of our clients. That meant that we supported them in 8 weeks from start to finish on their launches. Now, our clients are usually established clients or established launchers that have launched something before. So they already have community, they already have people that have taken interest into what they're doing. They're not brand new, right? But still, what we're seeing is that 8 weeks is no longer enough time. We're now looking at 12, even 16 weeks, depending on the size of the launch and depending on what your launch goals are for your program or for your course or for your digital product. Reason being, there's just a lot more noise in the online space. And with that noise, people become more discerning buyers. So in 2020, even 2021, you saw a lot of people who would see a Facebook ad or would see something in one place and would hop on it and buy it. We're not seeing that as much anymore. We're seeing the need to really nurture your audience, and that is going to take more time rather than less. What does that mean for you? That means more touch points along the way. And so thinking in terms of how do you get people to see what you're doing, to acknowledge that you are the person that they need support from, and then be on that buyer's journey with them until your launch happens. There's a few ways that you could do that. Number 1 is, of course, to have an opt-in. Now, if you know anything about the world in the online space, you know that opt-ins are king. And I still believe that they are very, very relevant. Here's the thing though, your opt-in needs to be so honed in and so pinpointed to either the need and desire of your ideal client or the pain point that they are experiencing, right? It needs to give them that quick win. It needs to solve at least one small problem in a very clear and precise way, and it needs to not overwhelm your ideal person. If you're creating an opt-in that has 100 pages, guess what? Nobody's gonna get through it, which means they don't know that you can solve your problem or their problem. So the first thing that we wanna make sure of is that we are getting more people on our list, that your call to action is that opt-in so that you can then have more conversation with them and really engage with them. Other thing I like to do during this launch runway as we're leading up is reverse engineer the problem, right? Start having conversations about either pain points, things that people are having issues with, and parts and ways that you solve it within the program, right? So start talking about the program on the front end, not selling the program, but talking about the program, giving case studies of people who've been through the program and what it achieved for them, those sorts of things, so that you're kind of preempting or any objections that people might have or any questions that may kind of be in the back of their mind. And that's the other thing, really getting in front of those objections and answering those questions that you've already had people come through your program and ask before, so that people don't have that as a barrier to entry once your program is ready to open. Other thing that you want to do is really find different ways to communicate. So social media is one of those ways, video, audio, right? We like doing a bunch of different types of communication styles, even within our emails. So sometimes for our community, it'll be a really short email where I will have recorded a video for them, right? And so the majority of what I wanted to say is in video form because I'm working with those visual people. I'm working with those people who like to listen instead of read, that sort of thing. Getting people to ask questions, to have conversation with you, that's going to be the key. So making sure that you are ready for that launch runway to take longer, to start earlier, 12, even 16 weeks is kind of golden. So if you could, 16 weeks out to kind of start prepping your audience and leading them down the path toward your launch. Number 2, people need personal connection. We are craving personal connection after all of these years of feeling really, really isolated. So that personal connection could be that you have maybe some sort of a bonus where it is a live event, but it doesn't even have to be or go that far, right? It really needs to be started from the beginning of conversations that you're having with people for your course or your program. So I know that we kind of got away from doing sales calls or maybe even having conversations and selling in the DMs, in direct messages, that sort of thing, because it started to get overwhelming. I think though, there is an opportunity to come back to that in a way that is really impactful for your ideal client or your ideal community. What I like to do in this is people who have taken some action in some form, right? So they've shown me that they're potentially interested in my program. They've either applied, they've clicked on the sales page, they've asked a question, something where I know that they potentially want more information. I'll just send them a quick message and say, hey, I saw you click on the sales page, or I saw you apply. I'd love to answer any questions that you have. What would be best for you? So permission-based marketing, right? What would be best for you in terms of next steps? Do they want to hop on a Zoom call? Do they want to talk in the DMs? Do they want to send, go back and forth an email? So asking their permission in terms of what next steps they would like to see, but really personalizing it for them specifically and for how best you can serve and support them. Them being able to see that this is not a one-stop shop, that this is not just a one way of doing it, and that you are really interested in hearing what they need and in hearing what they have to say and where they are in their journey and how you can best support them, or being honest about the fact maybe you're not the best support for them, right? Those sorts of things are going to be key. So really think about how can you add personalization to some of the steps even before people get in your program. How can you personalize that journey for them so that they can feel really supported throughout? And number 3, bite-sized builds bridges. What do I mean by that? Let me explain. What I mean by bite-sized builds bridges is that over the last few years, we kind of went to everything is high ticket, right? Everything that you sell is high ticket. But I see a need and a desire for people to kind of like dip their toe in instead of giving you 5 or 10 or 20,000 of their dollars and then realizing that it's not a good fit in terms of learning style or coaching or however, right? And so there's an opportunity even there to create some lower ticket offers that give people the opportunity to really get to know you and to know if you are the right person for them to continue learning from. Now, this does not mean that you create a $97 course where you throw in everything in the kitchen sink. No, this is going to be very pinpointed, to the point, solve one bite-sized problem, right? And then the call to action at the end of that in next steps or additional resources in that program is going to be the other things that you offer, the other ways that you can support them on their bigger problem or the bigger solution to their problem. So thinking in terms of going back kind of to that value ladder that we used to see, and really going back to what is the ascension ladder for your potential clients, instead of it just being this is the $5,000 or $20,000 thing, and if you don't buy into this, you have nothing, right? So really thinking in terms of how can we long-term support that client, and how can we allow the client to get a taste of our teaching style, of our methodology, of our frameworks, without overwhelming them, number one, and without it being a really big price point, giving them the easy yes by it being something that is easy for them to say yes to because it's not a lot of money. If this was helpful to you, definitely check out my workbook all about evaluating your clients' launch metrics. This is going to be helpful to not just understand what launch metrics to actually evaluate, but how to calculate those launch metrics. Head on over to tashabooth.com/metrics for that free download. Looking forward to seeing you soon.